Okay, welcome. So, in this session, we plan to talk about how to ensure the fulfillment of basic human aspiration. Last session, if you remember, we were talking about identifying what is basic human aspiration. Right? Now, we want to get into little more details about how this basic human aspiration can be fulfilled. Right? What is going to be the method? What is going to be the process? So, if you look at what we have discussed till now, right, we have said that the basic human aspiration is for happiness and prosperity, and this is fulfilled by right understanding in the self, fulfillment in relationship with human being, and physical facility with rest of nature, and that it cannot be fulfilled by physical facility alone. Right. So, this is one major point we have made, and then we have said that in order to do this, we have to transform ourselves from animal consciousness to human consciousness. Living with human consciousness is what essentially is holistic development. So, this is one essential point that we have made, and we also of course mentioned that the role of education and sanskar is to enable this transformation from animal consciousness to human consciousness. And we also said that the process of this transformation, right, is evolving through the process of self exploration, right, the process of self investigation. And we briefly mentioned about what this process of self exploration is. So, we said whatever is being said here, take them as proposal, verify them on your own right, and there are two parts of this self verification. Part 1 is to verify on the basis of your own natural acceptance, and part 2 is that if it is found naturally acceptable to you, live according to it and see whether it leads to mutual fulfillment or it does not lead to mutual fulfillment. If it leads to mutual fulfillment, it is right for you. If it does not lead to mutual fulfillment, it is not right for you. So, through this process of self exploration, self verification, we will have the right understanding about the thing that is under context, right, about which the proposal is being made. So, through this self exploration, we will be able to understand what is right, that is, we will have right understanding in the self, and with this right understanding in the self, right, we will be able to live with human consciousness. So, the basic process of transformation to human consciousness is by way of ensuring right understanding through the process of self exploration. And if you look at the main purpose of this workshop, it is essentially to initiate this process of self exploration, self investigation in you, so that you can be aware of your natural acceptance, right, the swattva. You can live in harmony, right, in accordance with your natural acceptance, that is, harmony within leading to swatantrata, and finally you can live in harmony with the entire existence, right, that is what we are calling as Swaraj. So, the main purpose of this workshop is to initiate this process of self exploration in you, which ultimately will be able to help you to see your own natural acceptance, live in harmony within, and live in harmony with entire existence. Then we looked into this basic human aspiration, and we found that the basic human aspiration is happiness and prosperity and its continuity. And when we tried to investigate into happiness and prosperity, we found that to be in a state of harmony is happiness. So, happiness can be defined, can be understood in terms of being in harmony within and being in harmony with the world around. So, to be in a state of harmony is happiness. And on the other hand, if we are not in harmony, if we are in a state of disharmony or contradiction, then we are in a state of unhappiness. So, to be forced to be in a state of disharmony, contradiction is unhappiness. So, this is how we had defined happiness and unhappiness, and we had asked you to keep on verifying whether this definition of happiness holds good for you or does not hold good for you. When do you feel happy? When you are in a state of harmony within or in a state of contradiction within. Then we were able to define prosperity also, we found that the prosperity essentially has to do with a feeling, the feeling of having more than required physical facility. That is prosperity. And if this is the feeling, which is in terms of having more than what is required as physical facility, then there are basic two requirements, right. Number one is the right assessment of the need of physical facility with required quantity. So, it is necessary for us to identify how much physical facility is required, and then it is necessary to produce or to make available more than what is required as physical facility. So, there are two parts. Number one is right assessment of physical needs along with their required quantity, which comes through right understanding, and then second part is ensuring the production, the availability of more than required physical facility, which comes through right skills, right technology, right production, right. So, this is how prosperity can be understood. And we said that if we have a feeling of prosperity, that is feeling of having more than what is required as physical facility, then will we think of nurturing others or exploiting others? So, nurturing others. On the other hand, if we are feeling deprived, right, then we will think in terms of nurturing others or exploiting others. Exploiting others, right, and that is what we see around. Okay, that even the people who have accumulated so much of riches, they are still busy accumulating others, exploiting others. So, with this background, in this lecture, we want to explore the method, the ways, the process to fulfill the basic human aspiration, which is for happiness, prosperity, and its continuity. Right. So, this is what we intend to do in this lecture. So, let us look at this. We had already defined happiness and unhappiness. I will repeat that definition and ask you back whether you have been able to verify this or not. We have said the state or situation in which I live, if there is harmony, there is synergy in it, then it is naturally acceptable to me to be in that state, in that situation. Right. Therefore, we said to be in a state of harmony, state of synergy is happiness. Therefore, we said happiness is to be in harmony. So, this is the definition of happiness. Similarly, we looked into unhappiness and we said that if instead of harmony there is contradiction, there is disharmony in that state or situation, then it is not naturally acceptable to me to be in that state or situation. Right. So, if I am in contradiction, if I am in disharmony, this is not naturally acceptable. Right. So, I would not like to be in that state, that situation. I would like to run away from it. But if I am forced to be in that state or situation, then I am in a state of unhappiness. So, we are saying that to be forced to be in a state of disharmony, contradiction is unhappiness. Therefore, unhappiness means to be in a state of disharmony, to be in a state of contradiction. So, have you been able to verify whether this definition of happiness is equal to be in harmony holds good for you or does not hold good for you? Yes, what is the situation? When do you feel happy? When you are in a state of harmony or a state of contradiction?
State of harmony.
State of harmony. And we have taken so many examples showing that this unhappiness is because of the contradiction at one level or the other level. Right? If you remember yesterday, we had said this, that if there are contradiction in thought, we are in contradiction within our own self. So, we are in a state of unhappiness. If we have a feeling of opposition with somebody else in the family, with other human being, we are uncomfortable within, we are in contradiction with the other person in the family. So, there is disharmony in the family. So, we are in a state of unhappiness. If there is a feeling of fear in the society, which there is now all around, we are in a state of unhappiness. Right? Similarly, if there is environmental breakdown and global warming and so much, and whenever you think of it, you feel unhappy about it. So all these contradictions lead to unhappiness. That you can always verify, because those circumstances are all around, right? Now you have to look back and see whether when you are in harmony within, right, when there is a harmony in your thought, in your desire, do you feel comfortable, uncomfortable? When you are thinking of relationship with someone, when you are thinking of feeling of trust, feeling of affection, do you feel comfortable within?
Yes, right.
Even we are that 99% time we are not in happy state, means we are in unhappy state.
Yeah, you have more examples for that than for happiness.
Because until unless your thought is not for the synergy and harmony, means you are in the state of unhappiness. Even you are not having contradiction, you are not verifying even that.
Yeah.
Whatever the
So, for example, if you look at yourself, right, when you have a feeling of, let's say, you have harmony in your thought. Harmony in your desire. Will you feel happy within or unhappy within?
Happy.
Similarly, when you have feeling of affection for others, you feel happy within, unhappy within? Happy. On the other hand, if you have a feeling of jealousy for the other, you will have you will feel happy or unhappy within?
Unhappy.
If there is an environment of fearlessness in the society, of trust in the society, similarly, when you are able to ensure this mutual enrichment in the nature, so these are the cases when you feel harmony within, or harmony with other human being, or harmony in society, or harmony in nature, and therefore you feel a state of happiness within. But these are very few examples for you, because you rarely come across this. When you talk about unhappiness, you have many examples, right? Contradiction in your thought, contradiction in your desire, right? I remember we were conducting a workshop in Banda with the teachers of one of this Saraswati Vidya Mandir people, and I asked the teacher, can you tell me what is your desire? What do you desire? And one of them said, as long as I am alive, I want unlimited wealth, and after death, I want moksha, liberation. Right? Now, these are so contradictory desires that when you are working for unlimited wealth, you will keep worrying about what will happen to the liberation. And when you are working for liberation, you will keep thinking about how, what will happen to my unlimited wealth. Right? So, most of the time we are having this contradiction in desire, contradiction in thought. Right? So, we are in a state of unhappiness. Then most of the time we have feeling of opposition, feeling of jealousy instead of feeling of affection. So, we are in a state of unhappiness. Right? Fear in the society, environmental breakdown in the nature, exploitation of nature, right? All this leads to unhappiness. So, you go on accumulating wealth, but you are always in a state of unhappiness. Therefore, you have to take to drugs, you have to take to alcohol, you have to take to many such indulgence, because either you want to get that excitement or you want to escape from it, the situation?
Present state is just only either is boring state or some excitement state or some engagement like that. So
Yeah.
every people will not become sympathy. In fact, that today's date you cannot. I mean, one of my friend is saying that I kept always busy because if you not busy, then I bored. So what does it mean that? Means it is not in the state of any thoughts comes in the harmonious state.
Yeah. So instead of ensuring this harmony in thought, in desire and so on, we are all the time filled with contradictory desires, contradictory thoughts. Therefore, we are in a state of unhappiness. Therefore, we want to indulge into something, either to get temporary happiness through excitement or to escape from this undesired state of our mind, undesired state of the self. Yeah, that's what we keep doing. I mean, why do we need so much of entertainment? Because we are not comfortable within. We need some diversion. I mean, if you have to sit with yourself for an hour or half an hour or even 10 minutes, it's very difficult. You immediately take out your mobile and start doing something. Or you start writing something or you start doing something because you want to be diverted. So good, look into it. Of course, we are in a bad shape and we need to do something about it. In fact, the whole education has gone wrong. The whole, perception of the society has gone wrong. We think that physical facility will ensure everything, which it does not. Right? But we are busy trying to accumulate more and more physical facility, and it is not giving us the desired result of continuity of happiness and prosperity. But we don't review the whole perception. We think that because it is still less money and less physical facility, that these are not coming. So let us work for more and more money, more and more physical facility. So we have really got into a vicious loop. So that is why the whole perception has to be re-looked at, and that is what we are trying to do. That if we as human being wants to be satisfied through happiness, prosperity and its continuity, then what are the basic requirements and how do we go about it? So in this session what we are trying to find out is what is the method to ensure the fulfillment of basic human aspiration, that is happiness and prosperity. So let's get back to this. So this is about the definition of happiness and unhappiness, right? And if happiness means to be in harmony, and if you want to ensure continuity of happiness, right, then let's see what we need to do. Okay. So the next issue to explore is the total expanse of our being, right? So if we need continuity of happiness, then we have to look into the total possibility of our being as human being, right? So if you look at the total expanse of your being, these are the 4 levels, right? We live as an individual, as a human being. Do you? Yes. We live as a member of the family, right? We live as a member of the society. We may be aware of it, we may not be aware of it, and ultimately we live as an unit in nature, in existence. So we are embedded in this nature, in this existence, right? Okay. Whether we are aware of it, whether we are conscious of it or not conscious of it. So these are the 4 levels of our being. This is the expanse of our being. Can you see that? That knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, we are all living in these 4 levels. So this is the total expanse of our being, right? And therefore what we are saying is that if continuity of happiness has to be ensured, and if harmony, to be in harmony is happiness, right, then the program for ensuring the continuity of happiness will be to ensure harmony at all levels of my being. that is ensuring harmony in human being, harmony in the family, harmony in society, harmony in nature and existence. So, this will become the method, the program for ensuring continuity of happiness, right. That is ensuring harmony at all levels of my being, right, at the level of individual, the human being, at the level of family, society, nature and existence. So, let me repeat again, two things we have concluded. Number one, happiness is to be in harmony, right, that is the meaning of happiness. Then we said that if we look at our expanse of being, we live as individual, family, society, nature and existence. So, this is the total expanse of our being. If this is the total expanse of my being, and if I want to ensure continuity of happiness, then I have to ensure continuity of harmony at each of these levels. So, we are saying the program for ensuring continuity of happiness is essentially ensuring harmony at all levels of my being, which means ensuring harmony in human being, harmony in family, harmony in society, harmony in nature and existence. This is going to be the program, this is going to be the method for ensuring continuity of happiness. Right. So, if you now look at this, right, this is what we are saying. Happiness is to be in a state of harmony. Expanse of my being is living as an individual, the human being, as family, member of the family, member of the society and unit nature in existence. Therefore, the program for continuity of happiness is ensuring harmony at all levels of my being, that is harmony in human being, in family, in society, in nature and existence. Can you see that? That to ensure continuity of happiness, I need to ensure harmony at all levels. Do you think all of them are necessary, or you think anything is unnecessary out of these four? Is it necessary to ensure harmony in human being, individual?
Yes.
Yes. Harmony in the family?
Yes, all four are necessary.
All four are necessary. If there is disharmony anywhere, it will lead to unhappiness. Anywhere, anytime, if there is a disharmony, it will lead to unhappiness, and therefore it will disturb that continuity of happiness. Is that okay?
Yeah. So it is giving impression like until harmony is not ensured in family, in society, nature and existence, I cannot be happy. Is this you want to communicate?
I will come to that. What we are saying, unless we can see this harmony at each of these levels, and unless we are working for this harmony at each of these levels, we cannot be in a state of continuous within. So, at least if the harmony is not there in the family, but am I able to see that harmony, and am I working for that harmony? For example, there may be people in the family who are hating each other, opposing each other, but what about me? Am I able to see that the feeling of affection is what is natural, right, and not the feeling of hate, right? The feeling of hatred is not what is naturally acceptable. Therefore, I at least do not have the feeling of hatred for anyone in the family. So, am I having this feeling of affection for everyone in the family? If I understand this feeling in relationship in the family, and if I have this feeling of affection for everyone, I will be in a state of happiness. But yes, I have to understand the harmony in family, and I have to have the feeling in myself which will lead to harmony in the family. If I don't understand this harmony, I will be unhappy. If I do not have the feeling which will lead to this harmony, I will be unhappy. But then it does not necessitate that everybody there in the family is having the same feeling, because if they don't have the right understanding, they will not have those feelings. But yes, for me it is necessary that I have the clarity about the harmony in family, and I have the feeling, the right feeling, okay, in the family which is desirable, right, which is naturally acceptable. So, you can see that I need to understand the harmony at each of these levels and have this feeling of harmony, right, at each of these levels. So, what we were saying was that the basic human desire is continuity of happiness and prosperity, and in order to ensure continuity of happiness, what we need to do is to ensure harmony at all levels of our being, right. And if we want to ensure harmony at all levels of our being, then basically first we need to understand, right. So, this program of continuity of happiness would be number 1, to understand the harmony at all levels of my being, and then having understood the harmony, right. So, this is part 1 of the program, and then to live in harmony. So, by doing these two things, we can ensure harmony at all levels of our being. So, let me repeat, I said to ensure continuity of happiness, we need to ensure harmony at all levels of our being, and in order to do that, two things are required. One is to understand the harmony at all levels of my being, and number 2 is to live in harmony at all levels of my being. So, both are required, to understand the harmony and to live in harmony. Yes. So, both of them are required if you want to ensure continuity of happiness. So, essentially what it is being said is this, right. So, to ensure continuity of happiness, we need to understand and we need to live in harmony, right. And the total scope of understanding is this: to understand the harmony in human being, harmony in family, harmony in society, and harmony in nature and existence. And having understood this, the scope of living is this, right. So, I have to live in harmony as an individual, as human being. I have to live in harmony as a member of the family, as a member of the society, as a member of the nature and existence. So, this is the scope of understanding, this is the scope of living, and both are required in order to ensure continuity of happiness, right. And of course, when we try to look at them one by one, we can see what is the kind of activity or what is the kind of involvement that is required. For example, when you start looking at harmony within oneself, harmony at the level of human being, right, we have initially mentioned about this, that at the level of self there has to be harmony, a dialogue between what is naturally acceptable to me, that is what is my natural acceptance, and my desire, thought and expectation, right. We found that as far as natural acceptance is concerned, we always think of relationship, but when it comes to our desire, thought and expectation, right, because of lack of right understanding, we end up either thinking of relationship sometime and thinking of opposition sometime. Is that the case with you?
Yes.
So, when you are desiring for relationship or thinking of relationship, you are in harmony within, because there is a harmony between what is naturally acceptable to you and what you are. So, you are in a state of harmony within, therefore, you are in a state of happiness within, right. On the other hand, if we are thinking of opposition, then we are in contradiction within, therefore, we are in a state of unhappiness within. So, you can see that if you want to ensure harmony as a human being within yourself, then you have to make sure that all your desire, thought and expectations are in line with your natural acceptance and not otherwise. That is, all the time you are thinking of relationship and not opposition, right. You have a feeling of affection and not hatred or jealousy. You have a feeling of trust and not mistrust. So, in order to ensure harmony in human being, first I have to understand this harmony and then I have to live in harmony. So, now I can see that harmony in human being is ensured when my desire, thought and expectations are in line with my natural acceptance. Therefore, in order to live in harmony within, I need to understand my natural acceptance. I need to be aware of my desire, thought and expectation. Then I have to make sure that my desire, thought and expectations are in line with my natural acceptance. So, all this has to be done to ensure this harmony within, harmony in human being.
You can't change your natural acceptance.
And of course, you cannot change your natural acceptance because it is something which is there, something which is innate, something which is intact, something which is invariant. You only can start knowing about it, exploring about it, investigating into it and find out what it is. And then you have to make sure that your desire, thought and expectations are in line with this natural acceptance and not otherwise. So, what we are saying like this is ensuring harmony in the self, in the human being, right. Like that everywhere, we have to investigate, find out what is the harmony in family, then we have to live in harmony in the family, then we have to find out the harmony in society and so on. Right. So, we are saying two things are required, okay, understanding the harmony at each of these levels and living in harmony at each of these levels. This is the program for ensuring continuity of happiness. Therefore, what we intend to do in this workshop for the remaining session is essentially first to give you the proposal, right, about the harmony at each of these levels. So, to facilitate understanding of the harmony at all levels of being, we will put forward the proposals, which you have to look into yourself, verify yourself on the basis of your self exploration, right, number 1, and number 2 on the basis of experiential validation. So, if you remember when we are talking about self exploration, we said all these proposals which are given here, okay, have to be verified by you, okay, and this verification has two parts. Number 1, you have to ask your natural acceptance whether the given proposals are naturally acceptable to you or not naturally acceptable to you. So, this is part 1 of the self verification, and part 2 of the self verification is that if it is naturally acceptable to you, then do the experiential validation by living accordingly, right, and if anything comes through both the test, right, then it is right for you, then it will lead to right understanding regarding that proposal, right. So, therefore, what we intend to do, all through this workshop is now to put forward the proposals regarding the harmony at each of these levels, right. This is what we will do from our side, right. What you have to do is to explore within yourself, right, by way of verifying these proposals on the basis of your natural acceptance and also verifying on the basis of your experiential validation, that is by way of living according to it, in terms of your behavior, in terms of your work, right, behavior with human being and work with the rest of nature, and see whether it is leading to mutual fulfillment or not leading to mutual fulfillment. If it is leading to mutual fulfillment, it will lead to harmony, right. If it is not leading to mutual fulfillment, it will lead to disharmony or contradiction. So, this is the way to go about trying to understand the harmony at each of these levels and trying to live in harmony at each of these levels. And if we do that, we will have what we are calling as right understanding. So, that essentially is what we are going to do all through. And as we mentioned, this process of self verification or the self exploration is two parts. verifying on the basis of your natural acceptance, right, and then experiential validation, which includes living according to it, either in terms of behavior with other human being or in terms of work with rest of nature, leading to mutual happiness and mutual prosperity, and which ultimately leads to right understanding. So, if you look at what we are going to do, what you need to do is to understand the harmony and live in harmony to ensure continuity of happiness, right. What we intend to do, in our, together, is we will facilitate these proposals regarding the harmony at each of these levels. You have to verify them on your own right through your process of self-exploration. That is, you have to verify these proposals on the basis of your natural acceptance, number one. Number two, you have to verify them on the basis of your experiential validation, right, by living accordingly in terms of your behavior with human being or in terms of your work with rest of nature. So, this is what you have to do. So, in that sense, our work or our responsibility is very defined. It is to place these proposals, right, forward to you for your self verification. The major responsibility lies with you, right. The major responsibility is in terms of first verifying the proposals on the basis of your natural acceptance, then second verifying these proposals on the basis of your experiential validation, on the basis of your living according to it, right. Of course, if there are questions, in the process, we would certainly like to respond, but you have to start looking into these proposals, verify them, right. If you find them naturally acceptable, live with them, right. If there are problems in between, you can get back to us, ask questions, but you have to work with it, that is the major part of the process. So, we will certainly be there to facilitate, but majority of the work is to be done by you, and only when you do this verification by yourself, it will make sense to you, it will lead to understanding in you. Otherwise, there will be no net achievement. Right. So, good. So, that is what we intend to do now, as we go ahead. So, I will just sum up what we have said till now, and if there are questions, we will take them up. So, what we have said, number one, basic human aspiration is happiness, prosperity and its continuity. Second, we have said happiness is to be in a state of harmony. Third, we have said expanse of our being is at 4 levels: the individual, family, society, nature and existence. Therefore, to ensure continuity of happiness, I need to understand and live in harmony at each of these levels, right. So, harmony at all 4 levels of being, that is individual, family, society and nature, has to be ensured in order to ensure continuity of happiness. Therefore, the program for continuity of happiness is understanding the harmony and living in harmony at all 4 levels, right, as individual, family, society, nature and existence. So, the process of understanding therefore would be the self exploration or self investigation into each of these harmony, and that is what we will do as we go along, right, step by step. And of course, the purpose of this workshop, this course, is to initiate the process of self exploration, the self investigation, right, into each of these harmony. So, that is what we intend to do as we go along, right. So, what we will do in future is to take up each of these harmony one by one and try to investigate, right, explore. From our side, we will put forward the proposal. From your side, you have to verify them, right, both at the level of your natural acceptance, at the level of experiential validation. Good. So, this is what we intend to do. If you remember, we said the content of the workshop is to look into your basic desire and the program for ensuring the fulfillment of that desire. So, what we have been able to see by now is that the desire, the basic human desire, is happiness, prosperity and its continuity, and the program for ensuring this continuity of happiness, which is the basic human desire, is to understand and to live in harmony at all four levels. That is harmony in human being, harmony in the family, harmony in society, harmony in nature and existence. And this exploration, this understanding can be ensured through the process of self-exploration, which of course has two parts, which we have been saying quite a few times. So, this essentially is the essence of what we have discussed till now, and in the light of this, what we intend to do in future is to take up this harmony one by one, right, harmony in the self, put forward the proposal regarding it, help you to verify, investigate, explore, right, and that is how we will go on, right, from harmony in human being to harmony in family to harmony in nature, in society, and ultimately the harmony in nature and existence. So, that is our future course of action. So, good. With this, before I open for the question, let me just mention these homeworks which you have to keep working with yourself. So, let me list it out. Number 1, find out if you need to understand harmony to live in harmony. For example, find out if it is necessary to understand relationship to be able to live in relationship. So, is it necessary to understand something before living, with it, or you can live with it, live in harmony without understanding the harmony. So, one example is, which we had already discussed, that we all want to live in relationship of mutual fulfillment, but when it comes to living in relationship, right, we end up fighting. This is because we do not know, we do not understand how we can ensure fulfillment in relationship, how we can ensure harmony in relationship, in family. So, find out with every level, is it necessary to understand the harmony if you want to live in harmony, or we can do it even without understanding the harmony. So, that is one thing to explore. Second is explore what is human being. You must be having some notion about human being, some notion about yourself as a human being. We all have, right? Otherwise, we cannot plan out anything, for ourselves. So, we have some assumption about human being, some assumption about ourselves. So, you sit down and write, what are your assumptions about yourself? What do you think you are as a human being? Are you the body? Are you the self? Are you the coexistence of self and body? Right? What is your need? Physical facility is your need, happiness is your need, prosperity is your need, right? All these things you write down for yourself. So, explore what is human being and what is harmony in human being. So, whatever you have presumed till now, okay, write that down, right. This will give you an idea of what we know and what we have assumed without knowing about human being. In fact, in the next session we will talk about the harmony in human being in quite detail. So, if you do this documentation right now, it will be very helpful, because then you will know what you had the notion about human being and harmony in human being, and what is the correct notion, correct understanding of the human being and the harmony in human being. So, that will tell you about your understanding or about your assumption without understanding, right. So, do this homework, very important homework, and from the next lecture we will start exploring the existential harmony at each of these levels of being, from individual to entire existence. So, this is what we intend to do, right, in the future sessions to come. So, now the outline is quite clear now, that we will go ahead trying to explore the harmony at each of these levels step by one, step by step. So, try to understand the harmony in human being first, then harmony in family, then harmony in society, then harmony in nature and existence. And in order to do this, from our side we will put forward the proposals regarding the harmony at each of these levels, and you have to verify them on the basis of your own natural acceptance and on the basis of your experiential validation. That is what we are calling as self-exploration. So, good. So, with this I will close the presentation from my part.